Welcome to the Go Follow Up podcast with me, your host, Jonathan Moore. On today's episode, I have real estate investor Justin Fraser from Liberty Property Investing. Justin shares with us how he created a name for himself while building credibility and developing relationships with mentors and experts in his related field. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Stick around. This is the Go Follow Up podcast. All right, what's going on, everybody? So welcome to episode 1 of the Go Follow Up podcast with me, your host, Jonathan Moore. Today I am here with Justin Fraser. Like laser. Fraser. You listen. All right, well, Justin is here today. We're going to be talking a little bit about what it is that he does. He's a real estate investor. He fixes and flips properties. He also is a buy and hold investor. And I'll have you explain that a little bit later for anybody who doesn't know. So without further ado, why don't we just get into it?
Let's get into it. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
For sure.
Love it.
So, Justin, why don't you tell us who you are and a little bit about your background and what it is that you're doing right now currently.
Sure. I'm Justin Fraser. And so I own a real estate investing company. A few years ago, I wasn't too thrilled with my job. I switched jobs. I got a new job,
okay.
And I was like, "Great, this job's gonna make me happy, whatever." And what I realized was it wasn't really the job. That It wasn't. The last job wasn't great, but the new job was fine. But it really wasn't like what I really wanted, right? I don't really love working for someone else. Absolutely. It's fine. It gives me a paycheck. I go do my day job, but kind of quickly realized like that need calling me wasn't switching jobs. It was that I needed to do something for myself. So I started looking into some side businesses. What could I do? I've always been entrepreneurial since I was a kid with a lawn mowing business, and so tried to found real estate investing as something I was interested in pursuing, and did some research and decided like, hey, let's go buy a rental property and start there. I had read about flipping, I'd read about renting property, and thought, yeah, long-term wealth, renting property probably makes a lot of sense, and it's something that maybe one day I could scale into a business.
Okay.
So that started with one property, kind of hung out with that one for a while, and then over the last year and a half, 2 years, really decided to turn this into a business. So I got a partner, someone I've known for a very long time, and so together we built a business that fixes and flips houses, and we also own rental properproperties together.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
All right.
And I do still have that day job, but for now, basically.
For now, but you're working on getting out of it.
I'm doing everything I can to do a good job at work, but also to build this business on the side.
Right now, you're getting into the real estate investing. Mm-hmm. You're looking to make that transition from your day job. You're looking to make this your full-time job, or you're trying to make this your, I guess, how do you call that? Is it called living a dream?
Maybe. No, I'm comfortable with the day job right now.
Okay.
But I am trying to grow the business as well. So trying to build it to be something that in the future, if I decided I didn't want to work for someone else, that the business could support me and my family. So that's really what I'm trying to do now, is to take it slow and build something that I know will last for a while.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting, man. So how long have you been doing this again, you said?
I bought my first property about 3 years ago, and maybe 3.5, and really working on the business with my partner for 1.5 years or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
and your partner, that's all part of Liberty Property Investing?
Yes. Yep. So he's a guy I've known for a long time, and so we both decided, let's do this. Let's
how did you guys link up?
So he's actually someone I've known for almost my entire life.
Okay.
My buddy actually grew up down the street. Our moms are best friends.
Okay.
And we were hanging out, and I was talking about going to flip a house, and he expressed a lot of interest in it, and so he had just gotten out of college and was like, trying to figure out what he wanted to do, and said, let's do it.
Okay.
So he's in the business full time. and I'm doing what I can to support that and to get there too. So it's been really great because we have different strengths, and he's able to go and spend a lot of time with contractors or inspectors and meeting people, and then I work at nights and weekends to make up on my side and finding deals and trying to put money together, and together we work pretty well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what drew you to real estate?
Yeah, real estate I've always been interested in real estate, but I didn't really know what that meant. I just liked the idea of owning land. Something about like.
I think everybody
physically
likes that idea,
but
right?
like if you think about it, like okay, I claim this piece of earth, like it's pretty cool, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. I guess I never thought of it that way.
Right. Like
yeah.
there's only so much of it, so the fact that some of it is mine, like that's awesome. Well, mostly the banks for now, but
right.
but I get to call it my own, so it's pretty great. So that was what initially drew me in, and then when I started realizing that people can buy property and make money from it and rent it out, renting it or fixing and flipping, and not just a little bit of money, but in some cases a lot of money. And I've never had the idea that it was a get rich quick scheme, or some people try to, whether it's real estate or whatever, they try to get into it and think, yeah, I'll go in, I'll make $1 million and move on to the next thing. I'm more of a methodical make a plan, build out the business, and so it was sort of a nice combination of this interest in real estate and also the interest that I've always had to own a business, and so it was a perfect opportunity to start building that business and working on it, and it's something that I can work on in my spare time, but also scale it up, and I can see the future where it would become a full-time gig.
Is this your first business that you're building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What made you take the leap forward? It started off as an idea, right?
Yeah.
And then what made you actually jump into it?
So I think I did it in steps. Okay. For me, my first step. So I went out and bought a rental property on my own when I thought that, hey, that might be a good idea for retirement or some long-term wealth or something.
Okay.
I like the idea of someone paying down the mortgage and getting, having tenants and stuff. So that was like, when I first started, it was, okay, I'll buy a house or two and cool, that'll just be something I have on the side.
Okay. Did you think like you said, one was the finance, or did you think I'm about regular house?
No, I was just thinking in the beginning, it was just, I'm just going to buy a house and I'm going to put some tenants in there. And I did a lot of research on how to make it cash flow and stuff. And so I was like, that was fine. And I got it. And that hit my goals for what I wanted to do at that point. But then I very quickly started thinking about it. And the more I researched and the fact that I actually did that, I was drawn to the fact that I wanted to turn this into a business.
Okay.
I saw quickly how it could go from this side thing where I wasn't really going to pay attention to it, finding the house, buying the house, putting tenants in, fixing up the house, everything about it was attractive to me and fun.
Okay.
And then the fact that at the end of the month I'm making money or getting my rent check at the beginning of the month, and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So that's where I was I could scale this, and it really got me excited about it.
Okay. How'd you find that first property?
Oh, I worked with a local realtor. Literally had called, someone that I knew who was a realtor in a different town, and they referred me to someone else, and that person knew of someone who also was a realtor and also bought rental property, and so we got connected, and this guy took me all around the town that I was interested in buying in, and we went up and down the streets, and he really told me a lot about the neighborhood. He showed me the houses that he had. Actually really took a lot of time with me, which was awesome. And so we were able, I was able to lean on him as sort of like a first mentor with real estate, and so he was able to point out and say this is a really good deal, this is not such a good deal, so it sort of helped with my confidence there. Okay. So eventually we found a house and pulled the trigger and just bought it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How's it been so far?
That one started off great.
Okay.
Then I had an eviction. I had to evict because I had this. The tenants were paying late at the end of every month, and they were paying the late fees.
Okay.
So I was super happy because I was getting rent consistently at the end of the month, but it was rent plus my late fee. So I'm like looking at the returns on the spreadsheet, like, man, this is great. I'm making so much more money than I should have been. And that all came crashing down when that check at the end of the month bounced. And then the next one that came in 2 weeks later bounced. And and it really quickly spiraled into...
They were sending the checks, they just weren't clear.
Oh, yeah, they were not. And every time the check, it was a very slow process of, okay, the check bounced. Let me, it takes a week for me to find out after I deposited it. And then I call them, and then they put another check in the mail. And, they're not doing it on the first day I call them. And then I wait, and then I get another one, and that bounces. So it was a... learning experience for me. It was a rough learning experience. So I had to evict them. I ended up losing 6 months of rent because of from the late initially, then going through the eviction process, and then the re-renting process. And when I found a new tenant, they needed they were good, so they needed a month to get out of their old place to get in. So it was a 6 month process.
Man.
Learning experience.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you bounced back.
Yeah,
you didn't let it deter you. That's good.
Yeah. I have a lot of the policies in place that I have now because of that specific tenant and that experience. I don't take checks anymore. I get all electronic payment. I'm not at all lenient with the late fee. You've got till the 3rd to pay. You pay it, or if you don't, we're gonna call the attorney and get the ball rolling, because I'm not. I no longer have patience for that. Nor can I afford it.
All right.
These guys lived off of me for 4 or 5 months. And
basically, right?
I lost a lot of money. Thankfully, I had all those previous late fees to. I mean, I didn't miss a payment or anything, but it was a bummer, because it was like my entire first year was just wiped out and sort of back to square one. But I've always had like a long-term mentality with it. I got a 30-year mortgage on it, so over the next 30 years, 27 years now to get paid down, and I don't really worry too much about the ups and downs. I know I'm going to have vacancy. I know I'm going to have tenants that leave, and something's going to break. And but you plan on that ahead of time. You plan some money for maintenance and repairs, and then you won't get burned too badly. Yeah.
So you had a couple bumps and bruises, man.
Yeah.
All right, but you made it along the way. So what's the next step with what you're going in your company? And and since this podcast has a lot to do with talking about relationships, what type of relationships have you been working on building lately, and how have they set you up for your position that you're in now with your company?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question. For any kind of business owner. I think very important for real estate in particular, because it's a small community. There's a ton of investors that come in and out, and you go to some REIA meetings and there might be 100 people there, but the people that are active in your area, that are actually buying, that are actually working with investors, it's a kind of a small group, and they're all familiar with each other, in my experience. So for me, I think you have to lean on other people to be successful, because no one can do it on their own, right? Being in a situation where you can rely on someone else's expertise or help, or just some guidance, I think is super important. So I was pretty lucky. I mentioned that the first realtor I worked with, still a mentor to me. We meet every other month or so.
This day.
Oh yeah, we meet every other month, and I take him out to lunch, and we just talk about what's going on. I haven't bought a house through him since then, but that's okay. Maybe I will again. It just hasn't lined up to work out that way, but I still think that relationship is important. So there's people that are maybe more experienced than you in real estate or any business, and I think you want to learn from them, right? I did, right? So I sort of, the way it worked for me is I started going to our local REIA meeting, and see some of the guys there that are like running the meetings, or the ones that are always active, and the guys that are like really confident, talking about all the deals they're doing. Like I want to learn from those guys. I want to know what they're doing. So I'm kind of shy actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, it's actually hard.
How'd you muster it up?
Yeah, because
to reach out to them.
Before my first few REIA meetings, I would sit in the car and be like, "Do I really need to go?" Like, and maybe I don't know. Some people are very good at that, and I feel like I have a switch where I can just when I turn it on, I'm in. But sort of building up that confidence, especially before I had too many properties, sort of feel like, well, what do I know? You know, I'm just that new guy in the room. You know.
Okay. Yeah. For sure. Man.
So it takes some time to build up the confidence to talk to people or to talk on a level that's not just, hi, my name is Justin, but you know, doing something that you can like provide value to people. And that's a key thing that I try to do is see like if there's someone that I want something from, whether it's I want to be able to ask them a question or I want to go ask them about their business or see how they evaluate properties or something. I try to think like, what can I do to help them, or what can I offer, so that when I go and talk to them, I'm kind of prepared to have a two-way conversation. Because I think if you go into a room and you say, you know, I need properties, I need money, I need this, I need that, people kind of look at you and say, okay, well, so does everyone else, you know, see you later. Any kind of relationship has to be give and take, I think. So my mentality is always like, how can I help out some other people so that maybe they'll help me out? Even if I don't know what I need help with right now, I want to build those relationships with the people that know what they're doing so that when I do need help, it'll pay off.
Right.
So I started volunteering at our local REIA, checking people in at the front door, like, hey guys, how can I help you? What do you need help with?
Okay.
They put me at the front door, fine. Check people in, learn how to do it. I do it every meeting, no problem. Gives me a good opportunity to meet everyone that's coming through the door, talk to them for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get really busy and I don't get to talk to anyone, but that's okay, you know, because I'm there and the people are seeing me, right? And so that was sort of the first step. And then
so that was your first step.
Yeah, that was like
you offering your value.
Yeah, let me add some value. I don't have the experience.
You're a new guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a new guy.
Right.
I walk into a room of 100 investors or whatever that have been around for a long time. Okay, I don't know, you know, how to comp a property at that point or whatever it might be.
Okay.
So let me go in and check some people in and just start showing my face and start talking to people a little bit. So then when those people do come in, you know, for the meeting, you chat with them, you say, what's going on? You talk for a few minutes, and then the next meeting they see you and you talk for a few minutes more, and then the next meeting and you start like building that up.
Right.
And it just kind of happens organically, I think. But also putting yourself in a position deliberately to make that relationship happen, I think is pretty important.
Right.
So then, at one point, they were looking to expand to, you know, the Middlesex County meeting I run an offshoot of this subgroup that we go to.
That's what I was going to ask you next. So you went from this guy in the car, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And now you're actually running your own subgroup.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the continuation of the same story. So going from checking people in, someone made an offhand comment, one of the guys that's on the board that runs the meeting, and they said, you know, we're looking to expand up into Middlesex County because the organization started in South Jersey. And so I raised my hand and went and talked to the guy and said, hey, you know, I can coordinate people, I can find a space, let me help, let me see what I can do.
Okay.
And so they were like, yeah,
and now,
let's go with it.
At this time, how long have you been with the organization?
I've been in there for over a year at that point. You know? So
you were familiar.
I was familiar
with a couple of the people.
Yeah. For most of the people we talked, you know, a lot starting to get familiar. They'd recognize me. They knew my face. They saw that I was reliable, consistent, that I showed up to every meeting, that I asked good questions, you know, and I think I sort of built that relationship with a lot of people. And so I went to the one guy and I said, you know, I'll help. What do you need? And they said, oh, well, we need someone to run it. So cool. So there was another guy who had also expressed interest in running it, so we partnered up. And so now the two of us run that subgroup. And, you know, it's been great, but I keep that same mentality even running this meeting because I feel like helping, and that's where you and I met, right?
Right, absolutely. So, that is where we met.
And I think that the night we met, you know, we sat down, there's, you know, 30, 40 people in the room, but I try to talk to everyone and just sort of make that personal connection because if you're brand new to real estate, I know what it's like to sit in the car before you come in. It wasn't that long ago, you know, and it's overwhelming, and it can be tough to go in and there's 40 people and you don't know, they're talking about home inspections or something. You're like, why do I need to be here for this, or whatever you might be thinking. I don't know. But you also could be like have 1,000 properties that you're looking to offload. You're like, I don't know your story until I go and talk to you.
That's the importance of talking to people.
Absolutely.
Right?
So I try to like make, if I see someone in the room that I haven't talked to in a while or I don't recognize, like let me sit down, say hello, see what's going on. And I try to add value. I just try to help, whether it's answering some questions for some people. There's a lot of people that come to that meeting that haven't done any deals or sort of just getting started, or they need some guidance.
Right.
So I try to make myself available. Like,
right.
I'm not that advanced, but I have a few deals. So I can really understand someone who is just getting involved, just getting in the business, and understand where they're coming from. So I can answer some questions.
Yeah.
And if they're doing like a different niche or notes or something that I'm not really involved in, like I know people that I can connect them with. Like, sometimes adding value is just saying, oh, I know someone that can help you, or I know someone you can ask questions to.
Right.
So if I can help people in that way, then I'm happy. Because I really believe like it will come back to you in a way that maybe it'll be a benefit for my business because I saw you and we talked and answered a few questions for you, and maybe one day you'll have a deal you can't handle and you'll say, oh, I know Justin's looking for X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
Great, right? So like, because we have that relationship now, and so if I can do that times the other 50 people that come to the meeting, or times the 12 months per year, I mean, it can add up to be something significant.
Right.
It can also be a lot of work. It is a lot of work,
for sure.
And I think you really see people who will come in, I'll talk to them, and they're all excited, and I kind of put it on them, like the new person, and I kind of leave it up to them and say, here's my card, here's my info, if you have questions, reach out. I like to do that because I think it's important for people to follow up with other people, to sort of show that initiative.
Right.
I'm the guy that when I go to a meeting, every card I collect, I send an email the next morning.
Right.
And I just try to talk about something.
Right.
Hey, you mentioned you're in this market, New Brunswick, or you're looking for this kind of property. Just how's that going? I remember a little bit about our conversation.
Right.
Send a quick message about it and just say, keep me in mind for this, or let me know if I can help you. And usually people don't answer emails that way for some reason. Some people do, and that's where the relationships are, the valuable relationships, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some people don't.
Right.
And that's okay.
It's interesting, man, because, when that night that I had met you there, and we were speaking, same thing. I was like, new guy, don't know too much, just kind of hanging out, learning, and you had mentioned something about following up with people. And the funny thing is at first I was like, I'm not going to follow up. Like, I didn't think like intentionally, like, I'm not going to follow up with you, but I was just kind of like, all right, whatever, just shooting the breeze or whatever the case may be. And I think that one of those things could be that when you are new to a situation that you really don't know much about, you could feel intimidated to reach out to people. But then when you do, it's actually kind of interesting how some people are so generous, actually. And it's kind of not what you think it's going to be at all. A lot of people are actually willing to share.
I found that too. And if someone's not willing to share, or something's a secret, well, it's not worth your time, right? Because there are no secrets, really, right? It's all out there.
Absolutely.
You'll figure it out eventually.
Absolutely.
But if someone's willing to like answer a few questions for you, or just give you a quick call or something, that means a lot. And because I had some people that it and still do, like, it has put me in a better situation. If I'm in an unfamiliar situation, I've called. There's 5 or 6 people that have dozens of years of experience that I could just call and say, hey, this is a weird situation for me, or I don't know what's going on, and I can get some good advice. And I've done it, and it's. You feel so much better when you talk to them, and they're like, it's okay, you talk through it, this is what you say to them, this is what you're going to look for, this is what's common, and you're like, oh, all right, I can handle that. And
it's
just
the
like
importance of building those relationships
totally.
so you can reach out, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I'm like, hey, this is Justin, I know we haven't talked much, but I'm the guy that's always checking you in, and they're like, oh, okay, let me, I see you all the time. That's like the most basic thing you can do, but you've already got some formulation of a relationship.
Right.
And you just take it further. And if you've added value to them somehow, then it just gets better from there.
Yeah, man.
So that's why that's why we talked.
Right.
And some people follow up, some people answer me, and we talk, and we have relationships like you and I do, and other people don't. And that's okay, because they'll either do it on their own, or maybe they just want to talk to other people, which is fine. But I think a lot of times people just are not that serious about it.
Right.
But you can't. Being serious about networking and talking to other people and having those connections with people, I think, is the key to any business, because I don't think you can do it all on your own. Even for me, like I said, it's a long-term plan. It's a long-term engagement. It's a relationship. I had 2 different people this week call me and say, hey, I know you're looking for this type of property. I got it. It's off market. Might be something you're interested in. And I went, and I'm like, that's amazing, right? If I'm Joe Schmo who has never talked to anyone, I'm not getting those phone calls, right? And maybe these guys are calling, 10 other people, which is fine, but I'm on the list of people they're calling, right?
You are on the list.
I'm in, it's not out on the MLS or anything yet. So it's anything I can do to get ahead, but they know that I'm reliable, and if I don't want it, I'm going to explain to them why I don't want the property, and I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to explain what I'm looking for, my criteria, and if this one doesn't work out, great, there'll be another one in the future, but I'm appreciative of them giving me that information, and I try to then reciprocate and help them any way I can, but it's something that pays off, like, randomly and at many different times, it's not like, oh, we had a nice conversation, give me a great house to buy. It's a long-term thing, but it's cool. It's like 2 in 1 week. This week was a cool coincidence. It's funny that we're talking about it.
Right.
But over time, I see it more and more. With the more people I talk to and the more relationships I have, you get better opportunities and you get more information from people.
Better opportunities and more information with the more relationships that you build.
That's it.
That's wonderful, man. So let me ask you this. So moving forward, what are you looking to do? What kind of relationships are you looking to build? Where are you looking to take your business to? Just give me your outlook, moving forward.
Okay, so in 2016, we flipped 1 house.
Okay.
And we sort of like proved the concept. We want to flip more this year. Okay. We're looking to flip at least 3 more this year, if not 4. We're trying to do that. We need properties to do that. So, been working on, it's really relationship based because the market is very hot. If you try to go on the MLS, we're making offers on things that are out on day 1 on the MLS, and there's 28 offers on them. I mean, it's been tight. So I see this as we need to work our relationships with people and get something off market, get it before it's going to be available to everyone else.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to end up overpaying. And we don't chase prices up. We set our price and we stick to it, which means it's been pretty hard to find a deal for us this year. So, flipping, we want to increase. We want to do more flips.
Okay.
We also want to continue to pick up some smaller rentals. Okay. We're trying to buy 1 every other month or so, and so far we've been almost on track for that, and just trying to keep going. But we really want to buy $1 million apartment buildings, or $2 million or $10 million apartment buildings.
Okay.
And I don't have $10 million to go buy an apartment building, but there are people who do. So if I can use my relationships with people who have the money and people who have the properties, and use my skills of managing contractors and putting deals together and putting everything together, then I think that we can probably go buy a pretty big property. Maybe it's not $10 million, but hey, we got to shoot big, right?
Right.
So the idea is to buy an apartment complex this year with other people's money. Okay. And so leveraging the relationships that we have people who have invested with us, who've lent us money. That's a really important relationship that we have, because we're not putting all the money into these properties. So in exchange for basically they lend us the money, and in exchange they get the mortgage just like a bank would, and we pay them an interest rate. And it's a good interest rate, so they're able to make some money, more money probably certainly than they would in a bank, probably more than they would in the stock market, and consistently. We pay, on time every month, right? That's like my number one is gotta pay the people that are giving you money.
You gotta deliver goods.
That's like relationship number one, right? Because if you mess that up, you're stuck because people talk.
So how about that?
Yeah.
Well, you said it's a close knit group,
exactly.
right? And the word gets around.
Yeah. So if I'm borrowing money from one person and I don't pay them, then that's not going to end well for me.
Right.
So number one is build on these relationships that we have. Use the relationships. My awesome payment schedule for paying the guy that funded our flip last year. Right. He made a ton of money with us, but now not only is he interested in the next one, but if I have another potential lender, someone that wants to give us some money, he's an awesome reference, right? Because he's really happy because he made a lot of money and he's continuing to invest his money. So I can send someone else to go talk to him, and it just sort of builds organically, but it's all based on those relationships.
Right. Which in all honesty, none of this would be possible, or it would be very, very difficult to do.
Totally. Right. I don't have all that money to go, and I don't have an apartment complex to go buy. And that's the other thing is trying to build relationships with the people that have the properties. And so reaching out to a lot of commercial brokers and trying to go out there, talk to them, see what inventory they have, explain my criteria, explain why maybe this property they have doesn't work for me, but I'm looking for X, Y, and Z criteria. Maybe they think about me the next time one shows up.
Right.
So I think this year, if I can put together the property and the money, we can really scale up and buy something big. So that's the plan. Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan.
I think so.
And it sounds like you got a good, you got a good way that you're going about it, and you're really nurturing those relationships, which are really, that's that key factor that's going to take you to that next level.
Relationships are the key to success in this business, because if you don't nurture those relationships, if you don't take care of them, if you if you let yourself get a bad reputation, then you're going to be done.
Right.
People aren't going to want to work with you. They're not going to lend to you because, like I said, people talk. People want to. If I'm going to do business with someone, I'm going to look into them, and I'm going to talk to other people that know them.
Right.
And if people are talking about me, I know what I want them to be saying about me.
Right.
So that's the way I act, and that's how I deliver with people.
Okay.
And it's important.
All right. Now, let me ask you this.
All right.
Do you have a book recommendation, and why? Like, why
what kind
that
of book?
All right. So, any book that's really, spoken to you as far as giving you inspiration, motivation, or some type of insight of wisdom towards creating the future that you want. So you're on this journey to set up your own business. You're on this journey to have financial freedom and really take control of your time, essentially, right? Which is something that we all dream of.
Absolutely.
Right? So, is there any books that you recommend, or a book that you recommend that kind of really, made you think, like, what, this might be possible? Or is it something that you would recommend to anybody regardless of industry?
All right, I have two for you.
All right, go ahead.
One I know you're going to love because it's right up your alley, but I'll hold that one for a second. Okay. The first one is The One Thing. Have you heard of that book, The One Thing?
No, I have not. It's The One Thing.
Yeah, I believe it's by Gary Keller.
Okay.
And he's written a lot of books and founded Keller Williams Real Estate, but it's not really a real estate book.
Okay.
It's about focusing on and figuring out what is the one thing that you can do today to improve your business, or the one thing that you need to focus on that all the other things don't really matter. And so if you can figure that out and go tackle that you'll be successful today. So if you wake up in the morning and figure out, all right, I need to make sure I do this. This is my one thing today, or my one thing this month, or my one thing this year. And it just sort of helps you goal set and plan, and it's really powerful. I think. And the other one I read a few years ago is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that book is all about dealing with people and relationships, and I think it was written in the 30s.
Okay. Isn't that Dale Carnegie?
Yeah.
Did I get that right? I don't want to. I don't
remember.
You
can edit that maybe.
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So how to win friends and influence people.
It's been around for a very long time, but it holds up. And it's like it goes back to everything we've talked about today. Treating people with respect, treating people the way you want to be treated, coming to a mutual understanding with each other so that we can communicate, and you can accomplish what you want to do, and I can accomplish what I want to do. Okay.
Let me ask you this. You're obviously, you got the group now, you got your business, it's up and running. You're looking to make that transition sooner or later. And I just want to go back real quick, just circle back around to how you were saying when you were first getting started.
Yeah.
Are you, or do you find yourself to be more introverted, or are you an extrovert, or how would you categorize yourself in that sense?
I think my natural state is more of an introvert.
Okay.
But I know that in a lot of situations it makes sense to be extroverted and outgoing. And for example, if I don't really know you, and it's, I don't know, an awkward situation or something, I might just like sit on my phone and like not really, if I'm in a room of people, it's just like uncomfortable for me.
Right.
But if I sort of have this, like I said, it's like a switch, and I can turn it on where if it's for my business, which is ultimately for my family and for the time that I'm going to be spending with them and to build the life that I want, then I just flip it on. And I'm like, I think about that, and I think about why I'm doing this business.
Right.
Like what, and that's what got me in.
That's
what got me, that's what got me into those rooms when I was uncomfortable about it. It's because why am I doing this? I'm doing this because of what I want to use this business to build for my family in the future. And so I think about that, and it's like not even an option. It's like turn it on, go talk to that person that you're nervous about talking to.
Right.
Even if you stumble over your words, like get out there and try something.
Right.
And build that relationship, and go help someone or do what you can, and just crank it up and do what you have to do for your business.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, any words of wisdom that you would give anybody who's just starting out, a little unsure, don't know what to do?
Yeah. Ask for help, number one, if you don't have it, but also like be prepared. Eagle Scout. Okay, Boy Scout motto is be prepared. Okay, but like that's number one for me as well. I have a lot of number ones, I guess, but I think it's really important because if you let's say you want to be in real estate or whatever business you're trying to get into, and you start asking me for help, but you haven't done the most basic of research, I might say, okay, well, go read this book and that book and look into this podcast or read whatever, and if you keep asking me questions that like could have been answered, or you're not putting the work in and you're not ready for that, then it's like what is the point? I'm not going to give you all the answers to the test. Like you have to put in the work, because if you don't have that that basic understanding of how the business works, then you're not going to be able to do anything with any of the information I give you. Right? I could, if you know nothing and I say, oh, I've got a lead on a 3-family or $1 million property, whatever it is, but if you don't have the system or the education or the knowledge on how to do anything with that, then it's a waste.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Educate yourself, then go to network with people, build something methodically, but plan it out. Plan out what you're going to do so that when opportunity arises, you can take advantage of it.
All right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, thank you for coming and doing the interview, doing the podcast.
It's been awesome.
It's you know what? It's been pretty interesting. It's been fun.
Yeah.
This is the first one.
I'm like super thrilled to be number one. I'm so
man,
excited.
This is cool, dude. This is cool. So it's the first one, man.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you came, you sat down, you would take time to share with us.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to get in contact with you, or they want to learn a little bit more about what it is that you do, how could they find that out?
Yeah, we so my partner and I try to put out a YouTube video series, and it's just like real life about our business. And it could be me standing outside of Home Depot at 6 a.m, or like sweating, Kevin like sweating on the job site in the middle of the last summer, like, or just like an update on what we're doing with screening tenants or something. So we try to just real quick. We use our phone cameras, but we try to make it interesting. So that would probably be the best place to find me is on Facebook. We put all of our videos on Facebook.
Okay.
So the company's Liberty Property Investing. So it's facebook.com/Liberty Property Investing.
Okay.
And that's the best way to reach us. We can link out to YouTube, or you can contact us through there. And hopefully you learn something from our videos, because we're putting them out there not only to document, but to help other people. And again, another way of building relationships with people,
right,
even in the digital space.
Right. Which is, I don't know about you. I basically watch YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I watch TV anymore.
Well, that's all you need is YouTube these days. So as long as you're watching my channel,
tailored
I'm good.
Content, man.
It's great.
It's tailored content. So they can check you out at Liberty Property Investing.
Yeah.
They can check you out on Facebook. They can check you out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, man.
That's it.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Forward. Good
I
luck
definitely appreciate it.
Towards the future, and I'll make sure that I will go follow up.
Great.
With you.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you updated. And
I just want to say this. I think this podcast is great. I think it's a great idea. I think you can get a lot of good people in here. And,
thank you, man.
I'm impressed, and I'm happy to be guest number 1.
Sweet.
Cool,
Sweet.
man.
I'm excited, man. So thanks, brother.
All right, thanks.
Once again. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode with Justin. If you liked it or you found it useful, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review or rating in iTunes or Stitcher. Tell me what you think of the show. And if you want to learn more about Justin and Liberty Property Investing, head over to gofollowup.com, where you can check out a featured article along with behind the scenes footage of our interview. Until next time, this is Jonathan Moore signing out for the Go Follow Up Podcast.